What is MVAT?
So MVATS is Military and Veterans Appreciation Trust Foundation.
Okay.
Okay, and
Got a baseline.
it's an organization that is really focused on helping veterans make the transition to the private sector.
Okay.
And Gold Star families.
Right.
As well. And it is not an organization that is there to reach down into the ranks of the active duty and say, here, let me help you, come on and let's go over here and become a civilian now. That's not their mission. But the reality is that there are thousands who separate or retire from the military every year.
Right.
And it's a very large number. And so they have a resource when they decide it's their time to leave the military to help make that transition back to the private sector. And I said back to the private sector for a reason.
Right.
They all came from the private sector.
Did they?
They did.
What if they went straight from high school?
Who's born a soldier, sailor, airman, or marine? I don't think anyone.
That's
okay?
true. Whether
And
they were selling lemonade or going to high school, we're in the private sector.
Sure. So, they came in, however they came in, and now they're returning back to the private sector.
Right.
But they weren't focused on the private sector in most cases while they were in the military.
Sometimes for a very long time.
That's correct. And the skill set and the things that we ask them to do don't always transfer directly to a resume. And so there are organizations under Military Veterans and Appreciation Trust Foundation like Heroes Linked, which is more of an execution arm, connecting mentors with those who have left or are planning to leave the military, or Gold Star families who are left behind.
Right.
From service members who died in combat or in the line of duty. And so we help all of them and those Gold Star spouses. And so we connect them up with someone who may have spent a lot of time in the military and is now giving back and in form of being a mentor or a resource that someone can reach out to through Heroes Linked and just chat about what they want, or actually way beyond chat, get a vector into a place where they could find employment, or they could find opportunities to enhance their skills, or they could find help in getting those resumes put together that now read like a private sector resume versus, I'm in the military, and you give it to someone in HR in a private sector and they go, I'm not quite sure what we're reading here.
Yeah.
And in many cases, a very talented individual would be passed by. And so helping them to get the words right on a piece of paper, to get the call, come in, we'd like to talk to you. Because in most cases, once they bring them in and sit them down,
they can tell.
There will be a lot more than what was on the paper, but you have to have the paper at a minimum to get in.
Understood. That makes perfect sense.
And so I was not doing anything formally except supporting through some of the activities that they did once or twice a year until just about a year ago. I had been with the USO, the Bob Hope USO in the Southern California arena, and had done that for about 3 years, including the last year as chairman. And it was time with a massive reorganization for the USO, bringing in to focus one board versus boards for 16 chapters around the country.
Right.
My work was done there as far as a fiduciary board, and that's when MVATS was looking to expand their fiduciary board, and I went over there and joined on.
Wow. Okay. So now you're full-time MVAT supporter versus what was before here and there jumping on opportunities.
Right. I knew the founder and chairman who just recently passed away, unfortunately, but I knew him well. Because, again, someone that I knew as I was making that transition connected me up, and I said, hey, you got a great thing going here. Let me help out.
Perfect.
But I couldn't be doing 2 or 3 of these things at one time, that's for sure.
Right.
So about once a year or so, we would support them. And then about a year ago, I decided, okay, I'll take more effort now since I'm closing out my direct USO support, and I'll come over here to the MVATs. And the timing worked out well. We had some transition, as I mentioned. Our chairman passed away, and so we've been revamping the board, expanding the board, and most importantly, with what's happened in the world recently, MVATS is finding, as they have in the past, another opportunity to help veterans.
Right.
Those especially that spent time over the last almost 21 years in and out of Afghanistan or out of the Middle East, Iraq, and other places, who right now are experiencing a lot of different emotions as they see what's happening to those that they served with, who may have stayed behind in a private sector role as a contractor,
Right.
or they may be people from Afghanistan who were actually helping the military in a variety of roles that typically happen when you are there for that many years, whether it's a translator or other roles. And so I think they're experiencing some things that MVATs has put out some messages to them on their websites to say, listen, if you're having a problem, give us a call.
Right.
And we'll try to help. We'll get you connected with those who are the specialists at helping in those arenas.
Right. You're mainly referring to emotional struggles, just since serving in such close proximity to people out there, beyond our borders, in specifically Afghanistan,
Right.
are staying behind in a country that is now turning into a place that might be a little bit more dangerous than it was yesterday.
Correct.
So their personal relationships might be causing a lot of distress on emotional.
Well, and I think it's fair to say that a lot of those people are getting messages. Some are getting messages from people who later became contractors that are still in country trying to maybe get home. And they're not sure how that's going to happen. And so they're receiving those messages, and they might be feeling a little bit helpless to really help those that were their buddies,
Right.
in trying times in the past.
Right.
And others may just, they may not be in that situation at all, but they're just looking at it going, wow, what really happened? I was over there 7 times, and now
All
here
of a
we are.
sudden.
And so there's lots of emotions, and so MVATs and its board and its executive director have realized that those emotions are out there, and those emotions can have detrimental effects to those that are carrying them around. So, as you know, it's a tough battle coming out of a combat zone with the things that happen in combat, and with many of those people, they went through things that they'll never talk about.
Right.
But when a situation like this comes up, they need to know someone's there that can listen.
Right.
And in some cases, go beyond listening and help maybe direct them to people that can help.
Practically help
Right.
them out.
Right.
Right. So MVAT so at least is attempting to provide that platform support or initial steps, guidance, show you around, whether you're just making it out of the military because you're done with your service, honorable discharge, and here you are to the world of private sector, like you said again, or you're just suffering from recent events that could have been.
Well, even to reinforce something that people need to hear from time to time, and soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, they're never going to tell you they need to hear this.
Right.
They'll say they don't need to hear this.
That's what we say.
But quite frankly, for someone to say thanks for what you did make a difference.
Right.
And we'll sit down later and talk about how it made a difference. But for right now, don't let what you're hearing and reading change the pride that you had in what you did, and the internal knowledge that what you did while you were there during the times we asked you to go forward made a difference.
Right. I second that, to say the least. It's definitely a hard challenge, and I'm happy there's somebody out there that providing that platform of support. It's not easy. It requires a lot of availability, and I hope people are reaching out to you guys and getting some help. I'll be the first to admit that going through those experiences, taking, even considering to be ashamed of what we've been doing for our civilians, whether it's here or there, fighting for freedom in any shape or form, it could be difficult. And sometimes when you go through it alone, that's when detrimental consequences can occur, and we were trying to prevent that as much as possible.
Well, on every bright day, there's darkness.
Sure, I
And
agree with that.
so, when people start having really tough emotions during the bright side of the day, the dark side can be really tough.
Right.
And so, hopefully, this message that's going out on the MVATs and Heroes Link website will prove to be a positive factor in the lives of some of these veterans.
Right. I hope so too. Where can people find MVAT?
So, MVAT.org or Heroes Linked. .org.
Okay.
We'll bring them right to it, and it's easy to get signed up. It's easy to get connected. And if from the MVAT side, again, that's the foundation, the Military and Veterans Appreciation Trust Foundation. That's really a place to go if someone is saying, how can I help this organization help more veterans? That's kind of the donation arm, if you will,
right.
the fundraising arm.
Yep.
And they'd be welcome to go there. A variety of different ways to actually contribute and help. And then Heroes Linked is our primary arm of reaching out directly to the veterans and giving that hand to the veteran that they can grab and get connected.
Hence, Heroes Linked.
Heroes Linked, that's right. That's
I like
right.
that. It's practical.
And people don't have to be veterans. They didn't have to serve a day in the military to be someone on Heroes Linked who can help out veterans. Whether it's helping them to, again, employment, helping them walk through I'm going from this to this. How do I make that read a little better on paper? To I'm thinking about relocating to an area. Is there anybody out there who lives out there that could tell me about it?
Right.
Or what about this company? So there are people who are on the Heroes Linked network who've never been in the military, but they appreciate those who've done their military service.
Absolutely.
And then there are a lot of veterans as well.
Yeah.
Some that spent just a short amount of time in the military and some that spent careers,
Right.
like myself, who none of them will not give the time.
Right. There's no choice.
That's right.
It's just right there. But naturally, when you say Heroes Linked, my first thought is, on one hand, you have the heroes that served that are seeking the hand, and on the other hand, you have heroes that are heroes for giving out the hand, whether they were serving or not. It has nothing to do with it. If anything, to some degree, some help is preferred from somebody who's not necessarily an expert of the military, but expert of writing a CV.
Right. It makes a lot of sense. And we look on our board to go out and have a very diverse board for that very reason. Because we need people that actually understand how to really navigate
how to be a civilian,
the private sector, and be successful. And they've done it for 30 or 40 or more years.
Right.
And you don't get that just walking right out of the military typically in the first year.
No,
or sometimes
you really
even
don't.
in a decade.
It's true, yes. Unlucky ones may just wander around this entire time trying to figure it out while you guys are putting a big effort to help with that. So that's great.
I should say one thing on the Heroes Linked. We're really linking the heroes to opportunities, whether that's opportunity for getting to the right organization they may have never heard even existed, who can help them through things that people leave. You know, they don't just leave with a DD Form 214, they leave with emotions and they leave with challenges. And there are organizations that are out there that are so well resourced to help them, and they've got great experience. We link those heroes to those organizations, and then we link them to other parts of the private sector.
Right.
I don't know anyone inside of MVATs who's serving on the board or advisors or any of the staff who picture themselves as heroes. There's no hand out. There's just a hand up.
I hear that.
Okay, and linking them to those that really care about them and really appreciate the service that they gave to this country.
Loud and clear. Well, I like that a lot.
Or their family member who didn't make it home in the Gold Star family.
Right.
We make sure we don't forget about them either.
Absolutely. Yeah, we owe a debt to them, and hopefully people remember that and are there to help when there's nobody else,
Right.
specifically the person they lost. That's great. So